This is GACenter, your look into the Grand Arena Championship matches of over 60 of the world's best content creators. Here are your hosts, the Nev from the Escape Podcast and Ranger from Reality Skewed Gamers.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of GACenter. Season 3 is in full swing, and it's the start of 5v5. This is what everybody's been waiting for. Most people hate 3v3, but everybody loves 5v5. So that indifference for 3v3 is now gone. It's out of the way, and with the reboot, we'll discover just how loved 5v5 still is. Ranger, you still loving 5v5?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
excellent.
How can you not, man? I mean,
I know 5v5.
It's different though. It's totally different.
Yes, different strategy, different tactics, different modding. Yes, okay. Well, this is a live recording, so we'll do all of our acknowledgements. If you say hi, our mod will probably get in touch with you and say hi as well. We'll do all of the acknowledgements and the thank yous to any bits or cheers or subs or hype trains at the end of the show. But we are here to talk about competitors. We're here to talk about GAC streamers. So I think we should just get straight into it.
Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll, baby.
Ready to rock and roll, baby. And we start off with our Division 6 players. We begin with Sephiranus, who had a 2-1 week. Now, first round, he didn't get attacked, was a DNS. I mean, his opponent did set some strong teams. So it felt good for him to, stretch his legs and, get some hard-earned wins. Round 2... couldn't clear the sea. Put in a good, worthy effort. Didn't go on tilt, but still didn't win. Round 3, he was saved entirely by his rebel fleet. They held out against a rock-solid opponent. Overall, a better week than expected. Looking forward to his first 3-0 in 5v5.
All right, moving on to the Greed Gamer, and unfortunately for the Greed Gamer, I didn't get a report. So
I didn't have the shit. So I should hang my head in shame because I don't have the shame video.
You don't have the actual shame video itself.
I don't have the damn shame video ready. No.
Okay. Well, mistakes were made. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So 2-1 mistakes were made.
Yeah, mistakes were made. I blame Finn, whatever you want to go with. Sure, let's go with that. But yeah, no inference. So he went 2-1. Looks like he had a solid week. I just can't tell you how he did. So move on.
And we're moving on to Stone, the king. I am now crowning Stone the king of the DNS because he has had more full weeks of DNSs in all 3 rounds than any other competitor. And this week was no different. Round 1, win. Opponent DNS. Round 2, win. Again, his opponent did not show. And round 3, another win, and his opponent did not show. So he really has absolutely nothing to say this week other than, nice one, great week.
Didn't show, huh?
No, didn't show.
I didn't know what to say.
Don't know what to say. It's like what am I supposed to say? Nobody showed.
It's like, DNS, eh? The old DNS. Not going to fall for that trick. All right. Now moving on to my man, Andy Beads. I think that's the next one on their slide. Yep. Andy went 2-1 this week. Better for our Canadian rock star up there in Canada. Good maple syrup and things of that nature. Round 1 was a win. He said, in his own words, says, I set negotiate our defense. That's all she wrote for them. Made sure they didn't have the necessary counters for it. Round 2, lost, says busy life lately, so I missed attacks. It happens. And then round 3 says win. Again, negotiator played on defense against again after scouting their fleet. They didn't have an overly tough roster. Kept night system on defense and stopped a couple of battles. Their defense was not strong at all. So other than real, busy life, real life, happening. I mean, pretty good, solid week for Indie Beads.
Excellent. So we're going to move on to Infinum, who always seems to be able to crank out these really, really good weeks when it's really, really needed. 3-0, triple crown for Infinum. Oh, you just love to see it. Round 1, opponent had 0 GLs to Infinum's 2 GLs. Set a bunch of level 1s and basically threw the match. Although he did leave his best fleets for defense, so ground defense, nothing there. But he said, I think he genuinely wanted to see how his fleet was going to do. So R7 Akbar Mill fleet, he says they are no joke with good RNG, even for a negotiator. But it was an uncontested win. Round 2, opponent set a C and got stuck on Infinum's Slacker. So used Vader counter to get rid of his C. Padme versus Gas. And, a couple of solos on remaining teams. Both fleets only had level 1s, so double 72. A hilariously uncommon occurrence there. Yeah. Round 3, opponent failed to clear backwall CLS and had to 2-tap a Nuke Django team with all his, Gas, JKL, JML stuff for offense. So, his average Gear 12 defense, it was just no match for solos. And, Infinum went in Slacker, JMK, Gas, Vader, got a bunch of solos and basically ruled the roost. 3-0, triple crown for Infinum this week.
Doing what Infinum does.
Yeah, doing what Infinum does. And there is Division 6, and there is Infinum at the top. Yeah, that the extra banners that he would have picked up this week really would have helped him stretch that lead out with Stone. But hey, it's still between the two of them. Things can get interesting towards the end of the season. We saw it with Kate at the end of last season. She was, around that 4th, 5th, and she just clawed up and up and up, and she ended up finishing the season in 2nd. So, it is possible for people to climb, but I do see it finishing Infinum Stone. It's going to be a fight between those two. So, let's move on to Div 5.
All right, let's do it. All right. We start off with V for Vendetta. I did not get a report from V. Oh, boy. So I have no idea what happened other than he went 2-1.
Something went wrong because Vendetta. I've never seen back-to-back 2-1s from Vendetta. He's usually very, very good with his 3-0s. He's usually very consistent with his undefeated weeks. So I'd be curious to know what happens, but we don't know for this week.
Yeah. So no report from V.
Scribe. Shame for Scribe. Prince of Scribbles. You get a 3-0 triple whammy. And nothing. Didn't send me a sausage. No sizzle.
Bastard.
No sizzle. So, but 3-0, a triple whammy, you know that you're going to have a good week. So, he's done reports on... It's weird. He always does reports when he has bad weeks, and then he gets an absolutely blistering first week, and nothing. So, but at least he did have a good week. So, Prince of Scribbles, well done. 3-0, triple whammy.
All right, we move on to it's my favorite German in the whole world. He is here for your pleasure to read the stats and tell you how he did. Would you like
the best German in the world?
He was just sitting there watching some Looney Tunes, making some homemade cigarettes. That's what he does when he watches us. So let's do the report. All right, our boy Renard Fox, 3-0. He says a week of supposed efficiency battles, but round 1 was an auto deploy. Need I say more? Round 2 says his opponent was a no-show, although there was good offense left on his side. And then round 3 says he had finally faced a rough defense, and my fish wasn't the best, but unfortunately my opponent dropped his first battle and gave up. So Renard didn't see much on there. He says, let's hope for more active and motivated players in week 2. But for week 1, pretty chill, easy work for Renard the Fox.
Yeah. It's it's nice to get a triple crown, But when you don't feel like you've earned it because everybody just laid up and laid down on the tracks and just allowed themselves to get slaughtered, it doesn't have that same feeling. But hey, I'm sure Renard's happy.
Yes.
Oh, on to Mr. Bojangles, who
Mr.
scored.
Bojangles.
Mr. Bojangles scored a triple crown, a couple triple crowns this week. So yeah, 3-0. Round 1 faced an auto deploy and a DNS. He did point out that he was still able to get the full clear, which isn't always the case. The higher the division, it's not always a given to get a full clear against an auto deploy, because sometimes that AO will just screw you over. Round 2, this opponent set a fairly weak defense, and Mr. Bojangles was able to undersize all but one of the battles. So he got a lovely monster score. On defense, he got a hold from the Old Republic. Opponent never attacked.
Well.
Didn't mean to do... I skipped ahead a little bit there. Round 3, this opponent had a very similar roster to Mr. Bojangles, so an actual competitor, somebody to actually fight with. Both of them had a C as their single GLs, but Mr. Bojangles had a clear ship advantage with both Get 2 fleets, and his opponent had neither. They placed C on defense to block ships, knowing full well what Mr. Bojangle had on his fleets, but they dispatched their R8C with his C and a Watt. On defense, he did get a hold on the back wall with Old Ben DDK Night Sister Spirit. That one hold was huge. Another victory for Camp Jangles. 3-0 triple crown.
Nicely done. All right, we move on to the world famous. She's world famous. Paparazzi. We have to keep them off her when we're doing these reports because she's just world famous. I mean, what can you say? The one, the only. We're talking about Kate Gaming, and Kate Gaming had another outstanding week. 3-0 for Kate. She says, round 1 opponent got stuck on my Jedi Knight Luke and Malevolence fleet, and she got the full clear. Round 2, when it gets an auto defense, but still got the full clear. And you don't need to say anything else. And then round 3 says got the full clear. Pudding could get completely through my front wall teams. Not bad for being on vacation. Yeah, she was on vacation, so she did all that on vacation. That's how world famous she is. 3-0 for a girl, Kate.
And we move on to Geek Girl, another bounty honey.
Yes.
Geek Girl did not. Yeah, Geek Girl did not have a good week. 1 and 2, rough week. Round 1 had a good fight, only lost by 15 banners. Those close banner matches, they're tough losses. Her opponent was brutally efficient, and Geek Girl was not. Round 2 got the win easily. Their opponent had a bunch of issues to get some of her more experimental teams that were on defense, and round 3 Geek Girl's opponent just one-shot her. Now she did think that she was on track to be able to pull it off even after dropping some matches, until stupid GAC fleet bug cost her the round. Unfortunately, yes, that I have experienced that GAC fleet bug. It is a pain in the arse, but ultimately it cost her, and it was 1 and 2 for the week for Geek Girl.
All right, moving on.
There's Division 5.
Oh,
who's at the top, Ranger.
Wow.
You know who's at the top.
My favorite gentleman is there.
And that is an impressive banner lead. Oh my god. That is a really impressive banner lead.
Yeah, Renard's not. I mean, he hasn't really been. I mean, for this round, kind of helped out too. Because
I mean, he did have an easy. He did have an easy one.
Yeah, I mean,
he did have an easy one.
But you can't say that for the other weeks because he still dominates. So just ridiculous stuff. But yeah, this is going to be good, Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, I know it's tight at the top.
Right there, Vendetta's right there. Scribbles ever can be consistent. You got to look out for Scribbles. So man, I mean, this is going to be a crazy division the rest of the year. I can't wait.
It's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun to watch. So we're going to have a pregnant pause here so that we can have a break, but we'll be right back. And we're back.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that. So let's move straight on to You know it. You know it's as far as I'm concerned, it's the most important division because I'm in it.
Really?
So yes, on we go with Division 4 Ranger.
I don't know if I want to even say anything. All right. We go to not the Darth, but he's gone. He's not high quitter. He's low quitter.
He's a low quitter, yeah.
He's a low quitter. He's on that low ground. He doesn't take the high ground. But a really nice week for Darth Liquitter. 3-0. He says round 1, new division, 2 more teams on offense and defense. I wanted to keep some extra offense, so I did a pretty weak defense. But he got the full clear win. He says Mon Mothma got him another hole, so that was really nice. Round 2, full clear for 2470 banners. Had a messy battle with Ray. Did clones versus Gigi, which is always low banners. But his JTR defense held and got some nice defense. So first, as the same as the first round. Round 3 was another full clear, 2460. Says Nessa's my faithful executioner, timed out against the Padme team. Been a while since that happened. Cleaned it up for 2460 full clear. My Bagua held against me. And so FC, nicely done. Nice stats from Darth Liquitter.
And we move on to the heartthrob of the Outer Rim.
Okay.
This is Urza. You know him, you love him, even when you are getting carbonite to the face, thrown out onto the skiff, or, just unceremoniously dumped into the Sarlacc. But we all know that Urza is more of an entertainer than a competitor. Yes. But we still like to let you know how he's doing. And this week was, let's be honest, no different from any other week on this account. So a 1-2 for Urza. Didn't get any holds. Didn't get as many losses as he normally does. So he wasn't preloading as much. But looks like there was probably a couple of close losses in there for the heartthrob of the Outer Rim. We love you, Urza, anyway.
We do love Urza, but keep going, buddy. Next up is our boy Tilo Med 92. Had a great week. 3-0 from Tilo. He says, went into this week saying to myself, was going to win on defense, and that's what I went 4 places in gas, R3 and 2 Ls and D. Do my best to make other teams not solo targets. It says round 1's fairly easy battle with my opponent. Had a 2-3 disadvantage in show. They were only able to clear 3 zones. Round 2 says the battle I helped was for the final for the week, but got them in the second round. Both had 3 GLs, but after going through histories, figured my opponent would take all of them on offense, so I rolled the same defense as round 1. Says we both full clear, but my defense managed to steal more banners, and that's what it's all about. And then round 3, they were out 2-3 GLs, but managed to place a good defense and throw me off. But in the end, he got the win. 3-0 for Tilo. Nicely done, sir.
Nicely done, Tilo. And we move on to the Llama with a 2-1.
Hey.
Round 1 started off the week strong with a full clear. Did drop 1 battle against a GG, so they were a little bit nervous, but their opponent got stuck on the Holdo fleet and gave up after 1 try. Victory secured. Round 2 put up their best banner score of the week with a 1-shot full clear, and it just wasn't enough. Their opponent took the battle with their more efficient 1-shot.
Wow.
Round 3, opponent attacked first, and, another one this week bit the dust versus the Holdo fleet. This round, the Holdo got 3 holds, nice. And the Llama got the full clear. Did drop one, but, they got stuck. The Llama took home the W. 2-1 to the Llama.
Nicely done, Llama. Glad to see you kicking ass. Next up, all right. I'll cover the Nev here. All right.
It's short, don't worry.
I know. 3-0 from the Nev. Says round 1, trash deployed, teams destroyed, opponent DNS, huge score. Round 2, an auto deploy and a DNS. Round 3, FU defense set on front and back. Full clear achieved with the lowest banner score ever, but again, opponent did not show. Really? He says F penalties and F Italy. So anything you want to talk about that's not Star Wars Galaxy Heroes related there now?
I may still be a little bit salty about the European Cup final, yes.
Go on.
Yeah, I may still be a little bit salty, yes. There was an Italian that, finished that match that shouldn't have finished that match. But, hey, it was our first Cup final since 1966, so At least we were there.
Yeah.
Moving on. It's Spartan, but it's easy. It's easy,
It's
Spartan.
very easy for the
It is very
Spartans.
easy. 2-1 for Sparta this week. They won rounds 1 and rounds 2 very, very easily, and then it all came down to round 3, where Spartan's opponent full cleared them. You know, he did it very efficiently, the first 2 zones, but he did stumble on a Mon Mothma team and took 2 attempts to beat it. But it was a Geo team that cost Spartan the full clear, and he lost on points, unfortunately. So 2-1 for Spartan.
Well, these things happen.
These things happen. Rand B.
Oh, Randy.
Another 2-1. Yeah, another 2. Rand's he's not getting the rub of the green at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's being very, very consistent. I mean, he's not getting any wooden spoons, no 1 and 2s. It's all 2 and 1s.
No.
You know, it's just been much like the past 3 weeks. You know, the round he lost was by 2 banners, so he was really, really demoralised. He's going to perform some major adjustments, and hopefully he'll come back and he'll be able to stop these 2 and 1s and turn them into 3 and O's.
Turn that frown upside down, buddy. All right, we move on to the Tickle Tank Master himself.
The Tickle Tank Master himself.
The man with the best hair and swag. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Gigabachi. 3-0 says round 1 says faced a super cool YouTuber who put down a solid defense and made some big brain moves and got the full clear. He skunked at SLK versus my CLS and they got stuck. Mods. Round 2 says another big front wall with the Ray and Prey strat. Vader got solid bullpen session in and I cleared easily. He gets stuck on my this is really what he puts down. New Tickle Coffee Cakes comp. That's what he calls it. That's why he's a Tickle Tank Master. And then round 3 says played a fellow that RKP tingled with last 5 seasons. Another Ray and Prey defense with hot trash behind her. I threw a 60 ban on her and just went wild on the rust, snatching my banner's high for the season. Says I was only cleared once. I pulled a bit to 3GL account and had a nice start to the season. Playing a YouTuber on the opener got me nice clips on what I can work on, and that got me cooking. Hot start for the hot boys, says Mr. Jig.
And we're on to Fort Mort. So Fort Mort's report is as thus. So I was on vacation to start the week, ran the bot and saw no competition. First time ever that he did not plan like he does all week. Nothing to report but beatdowns on people that don't mod or ship harder. 3 and 0. Triple crown for the Fort Mort.
Mort. All right. Next up, we've got Darth Kermy. And Darth Kermy didn't have much to say. He had a 3-0 for the namesake, but he says more the same. Terrible matchups. Finished 79 in the new Division 4. Could have finished higher if I prioritized fleets a little more, but I hate fleets. So shrug. So there we go. 3-0 for Darth Kermit. Not much to say other than just not much to report on.
And we're moving on to Calvin Awesome. Mr. Awesome himself, the person
Doing
who
what
I'm
he does, baby.
desperately trying to catch, but he's just so awesome, Ranger. He's like really difficult to catch.
It's not his fault.
The awesomeness just makes him very, very difficult. So round 1, weird match. Dude had high lifetime banners, but no swagger.gg. So nothing about this guy on SWGOH.gg. So Calvin took a risk on a new offense, and it worked. He got the win, as you can see, because there's no losses there.
No.
Round 2, another weird match. Looked to be an auto-deploy, but again, no SWGOH.gg history again. So had to go in blind. To Calvin's shock, he just set an FU defense and then barely cleared anything. Calvin left his 9 weakest teams, and he managed 2 walls with difficulty. So that's what happens when you go FU.
Yeah.
You have trouble on offense. Round 3, only normal match. New offense paid off. Needs more tenacity on Chewbacca. 3-0. Calvin is the second competitor to hit his triple-digit streak. He is currently on a win streak of 102 after this week. Bravo, sir.
Only 102. God,
bravo.
Get over 9,000, then come talk to us. That was a Dragon Ball Z reference. All right. Next up, we got my man. He's not Django. He's not Boba. He's Boba Fett. You better remember. He says some people really prefer when their opponents go first, so they know how efficient they have to be, but it can also be advantage to go first and an obliterated defense, absolutely crushing your opponent's spirit. And he says that's what he did this week. He says round one, my opponent had a light defense, holding his SLK for offense. I only lost 3 banners, and basically he's raffle stomped the guy. Round two, my opponent played a really tough front wall. Assumed that he was saving his SLK for offense. He wasn't. He didn't care about clearing, and he hit his SLK in the back behind Darth Revan, but he still took him out, still got him out. Boma doing what Boma does. And then round three, my opponent got his C up front and mostly garbage everywhere else. Hope I wouldn't be able to defeat his C. That's just not what happened. He got the easy full clear win. He says, this is my second time this week losing fewer than 5 total banners off the soft max. My opponent lost the first 2 battles he attempted and gave up. So they're gonna say
triple whammies and triple crowns just everywhere at the moment. Absolutely everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. There it is. There's the table. And I was so hoping to catch up with Calvin this week. I really was. But all I did was went backwards. So whereas it was just 100 banners between the two of us, it's now 300 banners between me and Calvin. And I'm just... Can somebody please just someone, anyone out there, just beat Calvin? Just do it. Just somebody beat him, please. Anybody.
Is that what you're hoping for? You're hoping that Calvin loses.
Well, maybe not necessarily lose, but
that's what you're placing your hopes on, is that Calvin is going to run into someone on 102 streak that he's going to lose. Now, if that's your plan to win this division.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even if I don't lose, that's like, what else can I do? There's nothing else I can do.
Mort is going to lose. After 69 more or 60 something more battles, maybe he'll lose another one. But good luck with that strat, Nev.
Yeah. I mean, just look at. I mean, I'm in a division and 5 of us are still undefeated. I mean, come on. I mean, this is a tough division. This is a really tough division.
I know. Jig's in like 5th place, and he's like 14-1 or 6th place. That's how silly this is.
That's how bonkers this is.
14-1, and
put Jig in like most of the other divisions, and he'd be at the top with that. He'd be at the top in a lot of other divisions with that. Anyway, that's Division 4.
Welcome to the Patreon leaderboard, brought to you by the Patreons of the Escape Podcast. You're either watching this on the Escape Podcast, or you're watching this on GACenter. Either way, you can join this leaderboard if you're not a streamer and would like to face off against fellow Patreons or other players of the game and have us cover it right here on the show just by going to patreon.com/theescapepod, nocast, and joining up at the Kyber combatant level or higher. Let's get to the numbers. Big Country Mags, 2-1 for week 1. Banners, 5,768. 24 wins, 6 losses, 1 hold, and no report. Basically, nobody wrote a report this week. So, it was a holiday weekend for this one, so it's okay. D, 0-3. Ouch. 56-98, 23 wins, 7 losses, 2 holds for D. Now, Dark Helmet goes 2-1, the inverse, 79-19, 36 wins, 1 loss, 1 hold. I'm guessing that that loss cost them going 3-0. Dr. JoJo, last month's champion, if you will, 2-1. 73-37. It was a palindrome, 33 wins. That's also a palindrome, 6 losses, 8 holds. Not too shabby for him. He just wrote a quick report in which he said, let's pull that up here. He said in his quick report, vacation post, so we'll be short. Lost finals to the same guy who beat me in 3v3 and ruined that perfect season. Wasn't even close. He's a better player than me and nothing much else I could do. Missed facing the wolf since he lost bad to this guy. It's okay, Dr. JoJo. All right, let's move on to 4 strong. 1-2, 39-50, 12 wins, 1 loss, 1 hold. I think he was on vacation. Hot Sauce, who's not a streamer but does run Hot Utils. Visit hotutils.com for some of the best of the bots in bots as in they will do functions for you, not play the game for you. In Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. 2-1 for him. 8,000. Nice. 31 banners. 36 wins. 2 losses. 1 hold. Schnarman. 3-0. Check this guy out. 63-77 in banners. 27 wins. 0 losses. 2 holds. Let's see. 27 wins. 0 losses. 3-0. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a triple crown for Schnarman. Good job, Schnarman. Now, finally, me. I went 2-1. Holy cow! After 1-3 and 0-3, or 1-2 and 0-3, it was good to get out from under that onus. 61-42 in banners, 24 wins, 3 losses, 2 holds. It was a good feeling. I'm gonna admit it, but I did face 2 auto deploys. I don't get it. All right, take a look at the final boards. Schnarman on top with that 3-0. And if he can go 3-0, if he can run the table, he will have the win advantage and therefore stays on top of the board. But Hot Sauce, Dark Helmet, Dr. Jojo, all 3 of them, if he falters once, they're going to leapfrog him, all 3 of them. Now, BCM underneath me for some reason. Interesting. He rounds out the 5th place, or 6th place, if you will. 4 strong in 7th, and D at 0-3 in last. But that is going to change this coming week. I can already tell. All right, guys, that does it for me. My name is Paul Anthony. You already know me. For the Escape Podcast and GACenter Patreon leaderboard as part of both the show on both sides of the table. We will see you next time. Be nice to each other, damn it. Coming up, more of the program you're watching right here.
And we kick it off with Yeti with another 3-0. Round 1.
Abominable snowman.
The abominable snowman. Snow Kitty. Opponent always sets a silly defense and then fails to fall clear. Yeti one-shot his board and had 2 teams left for his JMK Cam team. Yet he had no idea what beats it, but he had heard that Gas Clones and JML does the drop. He tried both and lost with both, unfortunately. First time he's not full cleared in about 100 GAC rounds.
Wow.
He cleared one of Yeti's zones with many, many drops, and then his relic Rebel fleet crushed him and held twice. Setting all your best stuff doesn't seem to be a winning prospect. We keep telling people, but they don't listen. Round 2, really solid opponent with 4 GLs, 2 Yetis 4 GLs. He did even have a slight mod advantage, which is not an easy thing to get over Yeti, and he had a very slight Gear 13 advantage. Yeti one-shot his board very efficiently, and then his opponent returned the favour, but not quite as efficiently. Still won by 50 banners. The Yeti, but hey, you know, better than round 1, unfortunately. Round 3, he hasn't got a clue how the bloody hell this guy got into the finals, because his history is all no-shows and auto-deploys. He feared an auto-deploy, but his opponent didn't, thankfully. Yeti set a tough defense, but kept enough to clear what he assumed was going to be an auto-deploy. He set 1 GL fewer than Yeti thought he would, and Yeti was able to get the one shot of his board for a very solid score. 3-0 for the abominable snowman Yeti.
All right, we move on to Here Comes Wrangler.
Here comes Wrangler.
One tough customer. Didn't get a report from Wrangler, I believe. Yep. So
Shame.
I don't know what happened, but I did not receive a report from Wrangler. So he went 2-1. That's about all I can tell you, folks. So sorry.
And we move on to the Wolf.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well,
You said the Wolf?
I did, but I usually do the bit, but I'm shocked at what I'm seeing here.
I know it is quite shocking because he had an awesome 3v3.
Bits. Yeah,
he had an awesome 3v3 month. So yeah, this is So weird and crappy start to the 5v5 season, both in terms of matchmaking and consistency of his usually reliable teams. Opponents 1 and 2 were both rocking all 5 GLs compared to the Wolves 3.
God.
Yeah, and his third round opponent still had 1 more GL in it, had 4. So first round went well. he set as much as he comfortably thought he could on defense. Full cleared his opponent, including, the 3 GLs. They dropped a battle. So, he was feeling okay. Let his defense ride for the second 5GL opponent, and for the first time in months, dropped a battle with JMLS versus Slacker. He one-shot the rest, but, he didn't drop any. His opponent didn't drop any, so, he lost on banners. And unfortunately, a similar story for him in round 3. He did his research, and he did set what he thought was enough, but his opponent saved all 4 GLs for offense, and unfortunately, the Wolves BAM team failed against a very fast Grievous for the first time in months. So even though he got the full clear, he lost on banners. So here's to a better second week for the Wolf.
All right, we move on to my boy. Oh boy, I didn't even feel like doing the bits here either. RKP. Oh no!
I know.
Oh no! What is happening? Oh no! Someone took Zeus. That's Alan's dog. Oh no! Why nay? All right, let's see what happened. 1 and 2 from RKP. He was on fire. He says, coming out of 3-3 with the 12-0 record. I was pumped. I was ready. I was excited. He says, let's get into this. Round 1 loss. They sure bust my bubble. Opponent was surprised I was able to full clear. Damn. Round 2, Auto D. This was fun. # not. And this is round 3, lost by 1 single fight. 1 fell on fleet. He says, I'm pissed. Says 1 and 2, very, very pissed. Very sad. Very insert negative emotions here. Man, RKP with a rough start to 5v5 with a 1 and 2. Man.
Couple of people have had easy starts. Couple of people have had really rough starts.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
And we move on to SlugMug with another 2-1. Round 1, mistakes were made. It would appear a lot of mistakes were made versus the Slacker, and it took him 3 battles to clear it, which left him with no counter for Gas 501st and an incredibly fast Darth Revan team. So lost the round 1. Round 2, fairly light defense set for him. But his opponent made the mistake of keeping both his GLs for offense. So SlugMug was able to get the one-shot full clear. Obviously, his opponent dropped a few battles. He did clear all of his ground troops, but never made an attempt at fleet. Round 3, full-on FU defense. But on this occasion, he was able to beat the Slacker, the Gas, the DR, the Padme, and the fleets. In the end, he used so much to beat SlugMug's metas, to beat his opponent's metas. He had 2 full teams still left. 2 and 1 for SlugMug.
All right. Moving on to the heathen. Don't bring your false gods to him. It doesn't matter. And this is the actual brother of Beaumont, who was 3-0 this week as well. It says round 1, my opponent had a pretty tough defense, and it was a nice warm-up match. Let me get back into 5v5. I got the one-shot full clear while he only managed to get through half his board. Round 2, so this round my opponent set a defense that was way too weak, and I demolished it. He ended up being a no-show, so why, a DNS. And then round 3, my last opponent wasn't on SWGOH.gg, so I had to keep more offense than I normally would, but it didn't end up mattering. Just like round 1, got the full clear, and able to hold my opponent to clear only half my board. All in all, he says it was a relatively easy week. So 3-0 for our boy, Heathen.
And another triple crown for another competitor.
I know, right?
And there is Division 3, Yeti and Heathen flying high at the top. Those 1 and 2s for RKP and the Wolf.
Really hurt.
Absolutely brutal for them in the table. Especially for RKP, because he was flying high, undefeated until this week. So he's got some work to do, because the Yeti and the Heathen, they do not drop rounds very often. Not very often at all. Man. Okay, so we're going to move on to the biggest division of all. It's Div 2 time.
There we go.
And the newly promoted Gridden, who moved from Division 3 to Division 2. Will he be able to continue his run of undefeated Grand Arena Championship rounds? This would probably suggest no, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. So round 1, opponent one-shot all his squads, but crashed on ships. A 2-shot and a 3-shot. Gridiron one-shot. Everything pretty easy round. Round 2, opponent 2-shot Mothma and Atreya. Gridan 1-shot everything. Also, an easy round. He'd like to point out that Mace Windu actually got used this round for his ability to do nothing really productive except to get a taunt thrown on his head by Master Kenobi. So that was it. That was his one use. Taunt. Round 3, opponent 1-shot everything. Gridan 1-shot everything. This one could have caused some trouble, but he made some fortunate decisions in these initial front zones, and he got the win. 3-0, 30-0 record still intact for the grid.
Let's hope we can keep it going. All right. We go to the Bounty Hunter Whisperer, my friend Vancil. He has good weeks and he has bad weeks, Nev, but oh no! What did you Vancil? Oh, my name. Says round 1 loss to a good opponent. Had some bad RG at the start with SLKR, so didn't get the full clear. So starting the 5v5 rough. Round 2 says lost again, but I got the full clear. It needed up being an efficiency battle, so trying to get used to 5v5. And then round 3, he got the win. He says won by a long shot opponent. Got stuck on both my front zones, allowing me to clear his defense quite easily. So start off rough. He's getting back into 5v5, and it's a different animal. And but rough week for Vancil.
And Fisk with a 3-0. Fisk had a pretty easy week. It was one shot in round 1, but obviously Fisk came out on top in efficiency. And again, round 2, he one-shot everything, and his opponent dropped 2 matches, had a couple of double taps. So again, Fisk came out triumphant. Round 3, can you guess what happened? Well, since he didn't lose anything and he got a triple crown, it's safe to assume it was another one-shot. And his opponent did get a one-shot. It just wasn't as efficient as Fisk. So 3-0, triple crown for Fisk this week.
There we go. All right, moving on to the... Oh, no! Playbook! What has happened? What is going on, Nev? I am just getting all these shocking reports. Playbook.
Some people just not having good weeks.
What?
Tough at the top, isn't it? Tough at the top.
On a crazy good streak. He said 2-1 had some big plans for this season start, but the 4th of July into surprise early GAC start ruined that. Came into lock much weaker than I was hoping. Round 1, it says close wolf pack fight. It came down to an 80% battle that went the wrong way. If I had changed one character pick to be safe, the win was mine. It says round 2, opponent doesn't attack in GC, so I took it as a science day and had some good fun. And then round 3, opponent failed their first attempt in my defense and just gave up. So he says losing sucks, but considering how close my loss was, despite not being at full strength, the rest of this season looks to be pretty dominant. We'll see. So rough for Playbook. Finally gets
definitely
that L on the board.
That's no moon. That's no space station.
You got to say it right. That's not.
I did. That's no space station.
It's a
moon. Okay, so another 3-0 for that. So he's having a really, really good win streak at the moment.
Some good, some good results.
He's on a current streak of 27. So yeah, he's doing really, really well. A really busy week in round 1. Luckily, didn't have too bad a time. His round 1 opponent was technically the best opponent on paper with a 750 gay lifetime, but he finished quite heavily, more than 50 banners behind Moon. Round 2, Vader went south versus Rey, and he lost to JKR plus Jedi versus Padme. But he did have plenty to play with, and his opponent didn't full clear. His Padme and his Phasma both stood stall for girl power up north. Nice big juicy fat banner victory over his opponent. Round 3, rushed to the attack phase due to the finals of the Euros, which is kind of what I did as well. It ended up being his best score of the week. He hit Slacker in the back, and his opponent didn't even attempt it. He dropped a ton of battles and he didn't full clear. 1 shot, 1 kill from the Moon, and really, really nice monster score, a 26-73. Kept himself entertained by not using JML. So, it's nice to have a GL spare at the end. 3-0 for That's No Moon.
All right, moving on to the
Oof.
mace lover himself. Oh no!
Oh
Why not?
no.
Rambam 1 and 2 this week. He says he was out-modded, out-relic 8, and out-credit carded. I'm not familiar with the last one there, Nev, since we're
Out
all
credit
pretty
carded.
I don't know how that plays in, but maybe you didn't spend so many resources on Mace, you wouldn't have this happening to you. But oh boy. It says round 1, devastating loss. He doesn't want to talk about it, Nev. So we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to
Okay,
talk
we're
about it.
not
He doesn't
going to
want to
talk
talk
about it.
about it. Yeah. Round 2 says close loss, dropped battles, but I knew he couldn't full clear me, and I thought I may have a chance to full clear him, but modding effed it up again. So 0-2 for Rambam. He says round 3, knew my guy doesn't play and anticipating an auto play, easy win, preventing the total wipe. So Rambam with the rough 1 and 2 this week. My
Yeah,
goodness.
hey, at least he avoided the wooden spoon. At least he
Yeah.
avoided the dreaded wooden spoon.
Yeah, I mean,
And we move on to you, Ranger. Ranger,
hey, it's me, yay!
3-0 for Ranger. Round 1 was against a skewer, so you had some fun with it.
Yep.
You won easily, and you were able to test some things out. Round 2 was an easy win as well. Your opponent tripped a few times on your teams, and well, you full cleared. Last round, finals, opponent DNS.
I don't know how this happened. Well, I mean, I don't know. As they mentioned earlier, like if you full clear your opponent, maybe that was into it. But I mean, did not show in the finals. I was shocked because I was like, he's got to make some attacks. I got to about 30 minutes before GSE ended, and I'm just looking at it like,
Are you going to attack, dude? Come on, come on.
Gonna make a move.
Come on, I'm right here.
Come on,
come on, kill me.
And I know I put
I can't do the voice
on there, but no, didn't show. So I mean, so easy first week.
Yeah,
I mean,
hey, easy first week for you.
And
yes.
it's looking like other than one person. I mean, there's so weird. I don't know how they're doing. GP wise, everyone we're all about the same, right? But when I look at JC history, there's only two of us that are monsters that are 860 and above lifetime. The rest are like 500 to 600,000. So I think we may be having a rematch of the Krakens again. So life is Cabber.
Cabber's life.
On our way.
Okay, moving on. Oh, look at this. Nooch got good. What does his report say?
The nooch. I started cracking up every time. 3-0 for the nooch. His first round auto defense. Second round he only tried once. Third round offense was abysmal. 2 fails and took 4 tries on GGB 8. Didn't want to waste a second real team, but both black walls held. And the nooch went 3-0, baby.
3-0 for Noochie. Oh wow, Nooch got good.
All right, we move on to MudBomb and his little mud clay hut and his little mud clay field with his.
So what's MudBomb's reason for going 2-1 this week, Ranger?
Well, it says the Endo bum round never got to happen because of 0.8%. So his round 1 loss, the 0.8%. Opponent did reasonably well, putting up a decent score and middle of my defense. I dropped a bound on his SLKR early on because I was dumb and didn't bring a pre-taunting tank. Nonetheless, I got through and was set to win with fleets. Then the 0.8 happened. Oh yes, good old TFP dodges 3 times in a row without foresight, which is an 0.8% chance of happening. Yes, it's 0.8. Math is crazy, am I right? This allowed Thrawn to go absolutely effing bonkers and just delete my damn fleet. Needless to say, I lost. So there was no matchup with the Endo because of this. This is round 2. I hate this guy. 5 GL defense. Yes, 5. All of them in the game on D, which meta characters as well. With only 3 minutes on D offense, I still full cleared him in 1. Suck it. Round 3 says this is my easiest GA round. Straightforward, simple defense to get through. Big points, big wins. It helps that my opponent didn't attack, but so 2-1 for the MudBomb.
And we move on to Lindell, our Spanish conquistador and European contingent. Round 1 was a loss. That's where the loss came. But I mean, he's not gonna sugarcoat it. he did put down an easy defense. So his opponent did beat him on banner efficiency. Round 2 was a win. It was an auto deploy and a DNF. Round 3, this time his opponent did make the mistake that he made on round 1, and Lindell picked up all those lovely extra banners, and he got the win. 2-1 for the Lindell.
Very nice. Moving on to our next opponent, the Lazy Turtle, getting things
The
done.
laziest of all turtles.
He really is, but not too lazy. Nev did go 2-1, so it said round 1. I started off terribly and knew my team's got a few holes, but kept losing battles. I thought I was taking the L, and so I took some risk and found some new counters. I ended up trying and got the W for having higher GP, so that was great. So a tie into a win. Sometimes it happens. So it says round 2. This was a slog because my opponent said all 4 of his GLs because he said you have a better roster and I'm trying to win. Then I cleared 3/4 of them and he had no chance on my front wall with Ray, and so I got the win. Round 3 says I didn't think I deserved to be in the championship game, and I sure as hell played like it. Just lost so many battles and it was ugly. Hoping for a better week next week. So started off well, had a chance for the 3-0, but just couldn't quite get it done. So 2-1.
Sometimes it just doesn't click for you, does it?
And it just doesn't happen.
And we move on to Kiowa with a 3-0. Round 1 faced off against Dark Omega. JMK held his ground and his opponent couldn't full clear. I mean, there was a loss in ships, but luckily for him, it didn't cost him. Round 2, JMK again did great. Using multiple GMs to take him out with obviously the limited amount of characters left. Maul, Lando, Bo couldn't get taken down, so his back wall held. Round 3 faced off against Nem. They both only had 1 loss. It came down to efficiency, and Kiowa ended up winning that battle and picked up a victory due to efficiency. Nice triple whammy for Kiowa.
Not bad. Next up, we go to GoCubs. The Cubs fan himself, representing the Cubby Nation, went 3-0. Says not a bad start to 5s. His Cubs improved each round this week. Says round 1, opponent set a defense but didn't attack. We've seen this many times. Round 2 says opponent dropped 4 battles, including one against Stormtrooper Han. Need I say more? Mm-hmm. And then round 3 says Cubs had a pretty good score of 26-76 with 1 hold, which of course was Stormtrooper Han, whom now has 58 GSC holds lifetime. Says it's going to be a rough week too, as Cubs accidentally collected too many feats and crept into Chromium. Plus he dumped a bunch of his gear and relics to start his Kenobi ticket farm. Ooh, so we'll see what happens with GoCubs for this upcoming week, but good start, 3-0.
And we move on. Thradeus with a 2-1. And his report says
shocking.
This is as surprising to him as it was to anyone. He lost round 1 horribly. He think he cleared 1, maybe 2 territories.
Oh, well,
it was just one bad choice after another. He blames the government, but he says he does bear some responsibility.
I'm about to say, you bear some responsibility, but did he just say he blames the government?
Yep, he blames the government. Yep. There's always somebody else to blame where Thradeus is concerned, isn't there? Always somebody else. Round 2 was a solid win, and it was all thanks to one of his viewers, Rusty Jason. It was his 2 GLs against his opponent's 4. Homeboy even had a Relic 6 JMK. So he was able to, to no small amount of skill on his part, and a much greater amount of skill on behalf of Rusty Jason in his chat, he got the win. He wasn't able to live stream round 3, but he got the win. He also got a full clear.
Wow.
A full clear and a win in round 3. So, he pulled out the win all on his own.
No,
in his mind, that makes up for the loss earlier in the week. 2-1 for Thradeus.
Well, if the government hadn't interfered, they might have had a 3-0. All right, we move on to another one of our resident abominable snowmen, and that is End All Be All doing what he just does, and that's going 3-0. It says first week of expanded 5v5 was a trial by fire for him, but toughest bracket of opponents I've faced in GSC so far. Said round 1, 800k banner guy who one-shot most of my board, but couldn't clear a couple teams in the back due to lack of time. Moral of the story, don't start your attack with 25 minutes to spare. You lose that way, and he did. Round 2 says 860k banner guy with red machine on a 26-match winning streak and a GLN advantage. Sets ruthless defense of 3 GLs, Darth Vader seals every time, including Ultimate GL Kenobi. I one-shot his board and he can only clear one zone of mine. Easy win. 870k lifetime banner guy in round 3. He says guy on a 20-win match streak, again with Ultimate GL Kenobi. Both of us set both to get 2 ships on defense, so we each lost a battle on ships. Says I one-shot his character zone and he lost multiple battles on my Wampa and Mon Mothma team and couldn't clear. 26-33 to 23-32. So Endall doing what he does, man.
Yeah,
So
Endall being the king of D.
Yeah, he is.
And look at this, Zephyrs. Now Zephyrs didn't compete last week, so 2-1 is a good comeback. Definitely a good comeback. In round 1, his 3GL opponent auto deployed. He cleared all, but his opponent's C got pretty lucky, he couldn't get past him, so it kind of blocked him from the fleet. But it was an auto deploy, so it was a DNS. So win to Dr. Zephyrs. Round 2, full cleared his opponent. Did have a couple of losses and felt quite a bit short of the win, unfortunately. Round 3 was the win, full cleared, but he seriously thought his opponent had the upper hand with 4 GLs. But he only put 1 on defense. So it does appear his opponent needs a little bit of schooling on how to deal with a GG. GG was Dr. Zephyrs' savior in round 3, won by 29 banners, 2-1 for Dr. Zephyrs.
All right. Next up is dpkdeadpool Kyle, who had one of his best weeks in a long time. He says 3-0. New expanded matchmaking has made people go a bit more offense. I'm using this week as a testing ground. Says this week wasn't hard as I also went a little bit more offense. Says this is a fun week though. He says round 1, this is kind of a norm this week. My opponent dropped on my bugs and one-shot the rest. He was extremely inefficient. He says I did drop a battle, but way more efficient than his opponent, so got the nice easy win. He says round 2. Close match. He only won by 3. He says close match against an opponent that had 3.7 GLs. Also, the first opponent that put a decent score against me. He dropped 1 as I did. Still no GLs on defense. Round 3, he won this one by 50. So still no GLs on defense. There wasn't anything hard on his defense. I one-shot his board with relative ease. He dropped against my Ray. It wasn't really even close. So nice 3-0 from DPK.
And DB.
Oh my God, DB! Oh no!
DB did the exact same thing as RKP.
No.
A 1-2 after a 12-0 in 3v3. So, it kicked off the season on fine form in round 1. A little awkward in play, and he did drop a few silly banners, but was pretty much rushing through after being sent home from hospital. Happy to get the win after that mess. Yes, he was. Round 2, a rematch with a subscriber of his, but this time Brosho, who was his sub, evened the score to 1-1. It looked like he had it in the bag, but his opponent's Ray was unlike anything he'd ever faced. It beat both his JML team and his Slacker team, something he's never seen in all his time on top of Arena. That match alone cost him. And now he's looking for a tiebreaker so that he can get some revenge. Round 3, fully expected to bounce back here and was frustrated to have the worst RNG in the world ever. His opponent dropped no battles, but only just beat him by 8 banners, despite despite the Ray failing on defense to Darth Revan and Malik of all characters. You just don't expect it, do you? HK alone killed nearly his entire team and spammed his big shot on his death-marked Ray several times to kill her. DB was legit speechless after that loss. Their team ate up several whirlwinds and ultimate AoEs, but HK, Basti, and Revan refused to die. Just one of those wild battles you never be able to replicate that makes GAC so entertaining. So 1-2 for DB official.
Oh wow. All right, moving on to the best cryptocurrency in the SWGOH universe. So of course I'm talking about Bitcoin doing what he does like he should be. 3-0. Nothing much to report here, but we'll go through each round real quick. It says round one fought the matchup of Fatal and Mandalorian. Fatalorian, unfortunately, he auto deployed despite the 850k lifetime, and I apologize for forgetting. Hopefully, we'll get a fair rematch one day. Round two, my opponent went light on defense, but couldn't clear my GL in the back. These things happen. It says round three, my BH was New League Relic 7 Django let me down by failing super hard on a mediocre 9-sister team. I used to beat those with the same team with the Gear 11 Django, so no feat for me, but I still scored 2675. He failed once on my 9-sister 2 and ended with 2620. So 3-0 for the bit, just like he always does.
Bulldog coming in with another 2-1. What else is new, he says. Started off the season trying to be competitive and determined to place high on the leaderboard. He went heavy offense, trying to score some high banners. Unfortunately, or fortunately for those who've been tuning into wanting to see him play, with limited offense, he dropped some banners. Round two, he failed on a Vader versus Rey counter. A counter that he's won, 1,000 times. And then he got over-aggressive, trying to make up banners with undersized squads. You went on tilt, Bulldog. It's all right to admit it. We've all been there. We've all gone on tilt. It turned out that he didn't need to make up any of those banners because his opponent was a DNS. So, round three, went back to crazy mode, set all 5 GLs on defense, and his opponent stopped attacking as soon as he saw the back wall. With no hopes for a top finish, crazy mode will continue for the rest of the season.
All right, moving on to my Ranger brother from another mother. Rangers lead the way. I'm talking about my boy Ando, who had a good week, 3-0. Nice start to 5v5. He says round one guys seem pretty good. I mean, his name was Badass 7 after all, but he accidentally out-deployed. Nothing to see here. Move along.
Move along.
He got chummed. Round two, Smash from MCI Final Order. He had a solid plan. Real nice spawning too. Basically made everything hard to off-meta counters. I did have one shot in his entire board, and he had me sweating after the first 5 attacks. So once he got to CLS, he held strong for 3 and prevented the full clear. Nice, easy win for Endo. Then round 3, just really high lifetime banners and modded for the freaking 9s, 40 characters at 290 or higher speed. And it seemed like all of them were on defense. I went a little extra heavy on defense, seemed to pay off since you couldn't get past my SLKR, CLS, or GTR. 2619 to 1699. Says none of my opponents full cleared me, which was surprising. This was a really good pod, and I'm sad to say we never got the APK Ando versus MudBomb match. But as my good friend Drake once said, you only yellow once. Have the hashtags here. It says hashtag. I have to put these hashtags here now. Hashtag it's tradition. Hashtag Ranger love you, man. Hashtag alt lives really do matter. So those are all the hashtags from Ando now.
And there is the bottom half. Ooh, 3-0 for Nooch. That helped him climb big style.
Yes.
Definitely helped him. Rambam creeping down the table.
He's really
just creeping down. And Ando, hopefully that 3-0 will help him kind of, creep up the table, maybe reach the top half of Division 2. So let's see what the top half of Division 2 looks like. 4 people still undefeated. This, ridiculous. Bitcoin, Moon, and Gridan. Obviously, Gridan is newly promoted to Division 2, so he's going to have a slightly lower banner count than all of the other people around him. But that's not going to matter if he stays undefeated and everyone above him loses. And the people that are above him do lose. I mean, Bitcoin tends to only lose if he's injured and has to sub someone in, or he's playing against his girlfriend.
We've seen some. Well, no, he did have a couple losses. I think 1 or 2.
Oh yeah. In the last month of season 2, he did have a couple of losses, didn't he? Yeah, he did. So everybody that is above Gridan has lost. But then we've got 3 people with only 1 loss: GoCubs, the Playbook, and Endel. So really, really competitive top half of Division 2. I mean, you've only lost 2, Kiowa's only lost 2, and Deep. I mean, it's such a competitive division. I mean, really, really competitive, the top half of 2. But it does contain, the lion's share of the competitors that we cover. So,
it's a lot of competitors.
That is where the competitive edge is going to be. So, we are going to take another pregnant pause here for a commercial break.
SWGOH.GG is your one-stop site for the raw data behind the game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. From complete gear lists to intuitive stats behind all of your favorite holotable heroes. SWGOH.GG has it all. With a .GG account, you can get a complete view of your own roster, see how you match up against other players, and even check out the history of your own Grand Arena Championship matches. You can also see what your opponent used on you to give you a better understanding of counters and team compositions to improve your gameplay. Did you know that they also have some great Patreon features as well? Ad-free browsing of their site, guild information, and manual information requests are included in their 3 levels of Patreon support. Check out the site for more details. That's SWGOH.GG. Unleash your holotable potential today.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
And we're back.
Hey, welcome back.
And we're going to cover the big boys now. It's
Time to
time for the big boys. The Division
Let's
1, the
go.
7.8 million GP people. Let's see how things shook out for these guys. So we start off with Warrior, who it was a relatively uneventful week for despite it being a 2-1. The first 2 rounds were very, very close wins, and his loss in the 3rd round was also very, very close. I mean, he only had 4 losses all week, so that does tell you just how close it was. But he did take 2nd place out of the group, so he is a very, very happy chappy with this first week of 5v5.
Not too shabby. All right, next up is Zareth doing what Zareth does. It says he did his best Kate 8 impression this week and went 3-0. It wasn't as effortless for me as it is for Kate, though. So Zareth getting back to his undefeated ways. His round 1 really high lifetime guy. He watched my channel. I killed JML and GG and other silly things. And over the full clear, and he couldn't clear me. Round 2 against E-Grace Gamer. Oh, I didn't know this was. Okay. Oh, against E-Grace. Says he was so literally last minute in placing his defense that he couldn't place his final squad. That gave him enough teams to one-shot my defense, but that extra team advantage is huge, and I won by 98. So, E-Grace, come on, me. Come on, me. Round 3 says another high lifetime guy. He had C in Maul's team, and I jumped in with Jedi because I thought it was EP. Better move on my end. I did manage to clear, though, and got my W because the guy plays too many good squads of defense, and therefore couldn't clear. He just wants to remind you, Nev, that both alts won all 3 of their matches, and while on vacation. Hashtag Alt Lives Matter. Hashtag vacation with kids is not vacationing.
And we move on to Tassanix with
There
a
we
3-0 this week. Round 1, rematch against a good opponent from a previous 5v5. They both full cleared, but Tassanix was able to draw his preferred JTR counters up front, and he ended up needing 5 attempts to clear it in the back. Round 2, he heavily outmodded his opponent, so he set 2 GLs alongside some well-modded A and B teams. His opponent one-shot the front wall, but then had to drop against CDR teams on the back. He underestimated a Stormtrooper Vet Chewie, Zalbar, Wampa, and needed 4 attempts to clear it. He cleared 3 of the top front teams, but then got stuck on a Rex Zaris clones. Never saw fleets. Big 700 banner win for Tassanix in round 2. Round 3, opponent had 40 plus more, plus 20, plus 24 speeds. So he stayed with the 2GL strategy that won him round 2. He had 2 drops on attack, so he had some margin to work with. All was going fine until he recklessly charged in with troopers against a DR team that was too fast for them. Against his malevolence with Spy as his only reinforcement, he used Home 1, but didn't get the 1 or 2 assists he needed from MILF to kill the fleet before Spy ran out. Cleaned up using the finalizer, only with crew command shuttle. First order fight, a Special Forces TIE Fighter pilot, securing the win by a meager 2 banners. But 2 banners is still a 2-banner victory, and it's still got him the 3-0 triple whammy. Well done, Tasnitz.
Very nice. All right, moving on to the man that doesn't like teamwork. Of course, I'm talking about Solo. Solo went 3-0 like we expect him to. It says 3-0, round 1, started out against a good player that knew who I was. I placed 3 GLs on defense and was able to get a hold on Padme Scrub team. I one-shot the board even with Gear 2 fleets on defense. Round 2 was up against a former guildmate. He placed a really tough banner stripping defense, but I was able to one-shot. He just didn't attack, so it didn't bother. And then round 3 against an 850k lifetime banner guy, he attacked first and one-shot the board. I was able to just be more efficient in my attacks and got the win. So 3-0 for Solo. Nicely done, sir.
Indigo. Okay, my father, prepare to die. 2-1. Indigo is finding his roster getting stretched in this new format of 11 teams on D. So he went from high efficiency to just hoping that he'll clear. Round 1 lost a close match to the eventual winner of the bracket. Made a bonehead mistake near the end, taking some Basti-led Jedi in against JTR BB-8 Bros. Focused down on the wrong fin at the start, and it cost him. Realized it in a ways they just kept going and they wrecked him. Had to use a JML Jedi to clean up and had nothing left to clear his Ray in the back wall. He didn't clear Indigo's JMK in the back either, but the 7-banner loss was what sealed it for him in round 1. Round 2, he made some mistakes and uncovered a JMK Bad Batch in the back. Wasn't sure what he should use against it, but ended up having nothing left by the time he'd cleared the other zones. Anyway, his opponent didn't attack until 40 minutes left in the round and ended up running out of time after only clearing the bottom half. So he got lucky. Probably could have cleared him. Indigo got lucky round 2. Round 3, his opponent did put Ray and JMK on defense, but Indigo was able to surprisingly one-shot everything. He had Ewoks and Jawas in the back, so he was able to have an easier time than previous matches. His opponent didn't even attack. It was another DNS and another win for Indigo. 2-1 for the week.
All right. Moving on to the sexy Buddha, my RC brother from another mother, Sir Loki,
sexy.
the lightsaber builder. 2-1 for Loki this week. Says round 1 win versus a separatist commander. My opponent goes usually light for being almost 9 million GP. I laid 3 GLs and proceeded to full clear my opponent. He kept 4 GLs and still felt hard on his Night Sisters and Kira Scoundrel team. They both ended up full clearing, but Loki, because he was way more efficient, had a much easier time and actually did pretty well. He outscored him big time. Round 2 says when I stopped my opponent from the full clear, I laid 4 GLs on my opponent and proceeded to clear his mat using Basti-led Jet on his Ray and things like that. So I got this back wall and he had a Darth Vader team where I totally messed up with my troopers on it, hitting the wrong ability with MG. I had to 2-shot it, but no problem. He got stuck in his front Jedi Master Kenobi team. Easy win. Round 3, this was a loss that had to face off against a guildmate, and I was there watching this. It's just they both full cleared, but Loki just, this is a battle of attrition, and he lost 27-39 to 27-82. When you're faced against a guild leader, especially one that runs the TW and knows your account better than you do, it was rough. This is the one time I saw Loki was like, if I don't beat this, I'm in big trouble, and he was. Still got the full clear though, but it was a lot of fun. I can't remember the name of the opponent, but it was a lot of fun to watch.
And we move on to good old Maurice with a 3-0. Some wins missing there, so let's find out why. Round 1, opponent tried 2 attacks and just threw in the towel, conceded after 2 matches. So Gom had some fun with some testing for an easy win. Round 2 was an auto deploy. So he cleared 1 territory and took the day off. Didn't bother with the full clearing. He said he will trade a potential top 50 finish to heckle T Money any day. She was streaming hers, so Gom got drunk. It was a great round 2, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Round 3, solid opponent from PvP Elite. Mods had him worried, as he was the closest matchup that Gom had had for quite some time. Placed 2 GLs, gas, and some boo-boo that Gom was able to march through. He cleared 1 zone with 9 losses scattered across an array of teams. Went with full WTF. Is that approach defensively? It paid off. 1 zone total cleared this week, even with 2 of the 3 opponents keeping the bulk of their inventory for offense. So a interesting 3-0 for good old Maurice this week.
All right, we move on to E-Grace Gamer. I didn't get a report from E-Grace, so
we know he lost 1 round to.
We know he lost 1 to Zareth.
We know he lost 1 of his rounds to Zareth.
So we don't know how the other 2 went, but I can't tell you because I don't know. So no report for E-Grace this week.
And Arnold, the Empire, coming in with a magnificent 3-0. I'm sure Emperor Palpatine would be proud.
Yes, he would. No one died.
No one died.
When you win for the Empire, you usually don't get electrocuted to death. All right, and last but not least, we have Dialer using those Twi'lek tactics.
Sexy Twi'lek
They're
tactics.
so nice. He says 3-0, Ranger Danger. He says round 1, fun match. I dropped 1 battle on his ships, but he drops 1 of my Newt Nests and another on my GG Wampa. He gave me the win. Says round 2, I opened to see my board 1 shot full cleared, even with my Jedi Master Kenobi on defense with Rey. His bottom zone was gas, Darth Vader, and 2 other decent teams, but the rest of his board was pure cheese. Cheddar, baby. All kinds of cheese. So as well, I blew through his board and scoring sub 60 banners with only 1 team, completely smashing the Cheese Meister. And then round 3, my opponent said a decently hard board. My Bad Batch Patty Melt team annihilated his GG as hoped. He had Rey up front and then hit JMK in the back with Padme clones. Luckily, I had managed to hold onto enough Jedi for the back which let me combine to make 2 top tier teams and cleared efficiently. He never even bothered to attack. So didn't even bother. So 3-0 for Dialar with those Twi'lek tactics.
And there is Division 1 Gom at the top of the pile because he is undefeated. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have risked it. Just taking out 1 territory. I mean, you can auto deploy and still have enough trash left in your roster to maybe clear a couple of zones. So I don't know if I would have risked that. I mean, me personally, if I'd accidentally auto deployed, and I have, not on my main account, but I've done it on alts. And then, I've had just enough to clear 2 territories. But I don't know if I would have risked that, especially with his current record. He's flying high in Division 1. Zareth's on 1 behind him. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 people with 2 losses. The Sexy Buddha on 3, Tassanik's on 4, Indigo on 5, and then Warrior and E-Grace Gamer on 7. Everybody's still doing sterling work. It's a lot tougher in the top. It's a lot tougher in Division 1
it really
than it is everywhere else. I mean, 7.8 mil GP. And I think we'll really, really kind of we'll see what metal everyone in Division 1's made of, because you just need so many characters. 11 teams. That's a lot of teams to put down. It's a lot of teams to put down on defense and still take into consideration. And now that we've got 5 GLs in the game, it really, really could be anybody's. I mean, this time last year, you wouldn't be seeing losses from Zareth and Solo this early in the season. You just wouldn't, would you? It just wouldn't be happening. So it's going to be an interesting season. But that is all. That is it. So we're going to take a short break, and we will see you on the other side of this break for thoughts and acknowledgements.
Hotbot in Hot Utils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, Hot Utils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, Hot Utils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
Hot Utils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod. Cast.
Visit hotutils.com to learn more. That's HOTUTILS.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience. SWGOH.GG is your one-stop site for the raw data behind the game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. From complete gear lists to intuitive stats behind all of your favorite holotable heroes. SWGOH.GG has it all. With a .GG account, you can get a complete view of your own roster, see how you match up against other players, and even check out the history of your own Grand Arena Championship matches. You can also see what your opponent used on you to give you a better understanding of counters and team compositions to improve your gameplay. Did you know that they also have some great Patreon features as well? Ad-free browsing of their site, guild information, and manual information requests are included in their 3 levels of Patreon support. Check out the site for more details. That's SWGOH.GG. Unleash your holotable potential today.
And here we are for thoughts and acknowledgements.
Yay.
Yay! It's been a great show. So I just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Bojangles for resubscribing for the month. They've been subscribed for 7 months. And a big thank you to SB Crumb for the follow. He was in chat earlier on, chatting up, and he did drop some news on us that the fleet bug in GAC is due to be fixed this week. So
Yay!
yay! Could you also fix the other bugs in GAC?
They're working on it. All right, they're working on it. All right, we already talked about them this weekend. So,
apart from that, it's been an interesting week. Some people have had absolutely horrendous weeks because they got really, really tough opposition.
Shocking results this week.
And then some people just got some really, really easy. I mean, you know, I had an easy week because, well, none of my opponents showed up. None of them. Yeah. So quite a few people had, round 3s, made it to round, and then their opponents just didn't turn up. You yourself experienced that as well. Mm-hmm. And then you had the likes of Ricky P and DB just having really, really tough oppositions. I mean, it's the Wolf I feel sorry for the most. Dude's got 3 GLs in his first 2 opponents, had 5 GLs, and then his round 3 opponent had 4. So, Robin Hood did not have a good week. I'm sure his merry men were definitely merrier than him.
Yeah.
How's the future week looking for you, Ranger?
I mean, other than there's one guy by myself. We're both like 860K plus lifetime, so I'm sure we'll meet in the finals. That'll determine like who. I mean, you never know, right? But I mean, it's really weird. I mean, the opponent I have has 200,000 more G. Like I'm 7.2, he's 7.4, but he only has 3 GLs to my 4, and then it's just one of those weird matchups. It's like, so we'll see how it plays out. All you can do is do the battles, do the best you can. I mean, you never know. RNG can get you. I mean, that's all anybody can expect from anybody out there.
Yeah, you can. And so that brings the show for the week to a conclusion.
I think it's time for you to hit those buttons, Nev.
I do too, mate. Thank you very much. Toodles, everybody.